Hi everyone. I think I just pushed live. Okay. Hi, this is Cheyenne. Um, decided to go live real quick. I don't really care like who comes on, but welcome if you do. If you feel guided to click on this video, kudos. But just now recently, bear with me because for some reason I've been having a hard time trying to get my words out lately. And I have a good idea on where it's coming from. But besides that, I wanted to get on here to talk about Saturn going direct. And also, Spirit wants me to not only mention the astrology that's going on right now, but also to do a quick update on after the full moon in Pisces, just to see where everyone is at, and also to, let you know like what to expect now, from now on. And another thing that they see, my throat has been acting so acting up so bad today. But I'm gonna try to my best with my ability, so please be patient with me. But another thing that they wanted to talk about today was childhood trauma, and how childhood trauma affects us in our adulthood, and possibly what to look out for as far as if you exhibit some traits from childhood trauma, and if that it does affect you in your adulthood. But I'm wishing that you guys had a beautiful day. So far I'm just going to start off before I even start the reading, because I'm going to eventually do a tarot reading. I'm thinking of doing one. But honestly, it's okay if we don't do a tarot reading. I just need to get this message out. Of course, there'll be a channeled message in the beginning. And if you guys want to watch the actual message later, like the actual reading later, then I'll have a timestamp provided at the comments below. That way you guys can just bypass the channeled message and just go straight to the actual reading. So I'm just lighting some sage. This is what sage is. It's used to clear your space. Okay. And then I'm going to be using some Palo Santo as well. But yes, I hope you guys survived the full moon. Oh my goodness, there was a lot of things that were illuminated that I did not know of. A lot of secrets, a lot of things that were hidden behind the veil, like I said in my last reading, came to the surface just recently. I learned a lot about my ancestral trauma, and I learned a lot about, I guess, family dynamics, and how ancestral trauma has played a big significant role when it comes to my relationships, and not only family and friends, but I'm talking about love relationships as well. And one of the things that I do, we will call in our spiritual community, is called a light worker. And there's 144,000 light workers that are out there in this world currently. And if you feel guided to look up what light workers are, they're pretty much spiritual light beings or star seeds. And what I mean by star seeds, I mentioned this on my page about Tupac. But star seed is pretty much a soul that incarnates here onto this 3D plane, onto this earth. And they are usually not from this world. They're not from this planet or solar system. They're actually here to help heal and through light work, which is what's considered love, unconditional love, bringing the 5D plane into the 3D, changing the notion of love, because unfortunately, us humans have grown up with this misconstrued notion of what love really is. Because if you really ask what love is, people will give you many different responses. And love comes in many different forms, yes. However, there's a big difference between conditional love and unconditional love, okay? And a lot of the times, people who deal with childhood trauma were only taught conditional love and were not taught unconditional love. So, as I was saying, Saturn has gone direct today. So today is September 18th. So yay! This is good news. This means that big boy, Saturn, the one that is the ruler of all... Well then, there was a big explosion. Sorry, that kind of scared me a little bit. But anywho, that's confirmation. But yes, Saturn has gone direct. That means karmic cycles are now done. So that means any karma that we have been experiencing between a 5-month cycle. So within, if you subtract 5 months from now, right? I'm pretty sure a lot of people have been dealing with a lot of trauma or like really difficult times that are happening right now in your life, which is totally normal, right? But also we're completing a 35-year cycle of just straight up karma. And just because you're not alive, you know, if you subtract 35 years, your soul was still alive, your soul was still around, but that does not mean that it was incarnated here physically into the 3D yet, right? And what I mean by karma, I mean patterns or certain things that repeat over and over again until you realize what that pattern is and how it's been affecting your life, good or bad, you know? And it's up to you if you want to break that cycle or not. And what I mean by ancestral karma is that there is a lot of ancestral karma within my family. Oh boy. Like, and the thing with light workers is that we're here to break that cycle. We're here to break that generational curse, right? And I don't like to call it generational curse, but a lot of people like to call it generational curse, you know, just that, something that's been passed down century to century to each generation. So that means that my family so say for instance, for example, I have a lot of indigenous family, and I have a lot of family that comes from, you know, background, like when it comes to like slavery background. So that in itself, a lot of people don't realize that slavery has made an actual pattern, a karma, ancestral curse pattern that's passed down from generation. And that's what we would be known as, that's where codependency comes into play. That's where detachment issues come into play. There's narcissistic tendencies that come into play, you know, self-sabotaging, victim, rescuer, persecutor roles, you know, all those type of things. And I suggest that if you are not ready to hear about childhood traumas, and this is the type of stuff that triggers you, and I suggest that you click off. But for me, I'm kind of metal in that way, where I actually look for triggers. Is that weird? But for me, I feel that we as a society avoid triggers so much to the point where it kind of prevents us and blocks us from actually growing as an individual, as a soul. And I feel like sometimes we do need triggers, right? We do need healthy triggers is what I mean. But healthy triggers to really like help us assess what it is that we need to heal, what it is that is actually affecting us and is actually plaguing us in our everyday life. So Saturn, yes, is going direct today, so that's a good thing. However, that means that when I said in my last video, if you were doing good and you had good trauma, like good karma this whole year, you were a good person and you did good deeds and you did exactly what the divine, as in spirit, or your life purpose, what you were meant to do. You weren't busy hurting other people. You weren't busy, you know, destroying. You were rather building, right? Well, just know that when 2020 comes around, 2020 represents clear vision. No shit, right? But it's true though. The reason why like we're going into the year 2020 is that, like I said in my last video, there's going to be a lot of illuminations and a lot of truth that's going to come up out of the woodworks. And a lot of things that were hidden underneath, that was hidden, is going to start coming to the light. And I always like to say that, you know, what's hidden in the dark, what's done in the dark eventually comes to the light. You know, secret or not. And a lot of people who have been holding secrets, and a lot of people who've been holding like bad secrets, whether good or bad, is eventually going to come to the light, and it's going to be forced to. And a lot of people don't realize when I say forced to, I say that yes, we do have free will, but Spirit makes it very clear that, you know, the Creator, that they are in charge, right? The Divine is in charge. No dark energy, nobody on here on Earth, right? Yes, we have free will to make our own decisions. However, we do have to recognize that, yes, there is a force, there is a beings out there that are above us when it comes to, you know, life in general. And a lot of spirit, our ancestors, our angels, the divine, the creator are in charge, right? They're the ones that help us, that we already written our story before we even came here, right? Our story is written. However, we have the choice on which routes we want to go. Does that make sense? So if you are someone that, yes, was causing havoc, you will have karma in 2020, sadly, or you will be paying for karma. However, if you did do your work and you were a nice person and you did do the best that you could and you were helping to build others rather than destroying, then yes, you will have your karma, which is good karma, and it would be expected to be repaid in full, right? And a lot of people don't realize, like I said, just because you weren't actively going around hurting people doesn't mean shit, because if you were wishing ill on people, you were talking bad about people, you were gossiping, you constantly had someone else's name in your mouth, you had bad intents, and yet you were still talking badly or thinking, even thinking, right? Because spirit can actually listen to your thoughts and your heart. They know where your heart is. So it doesn't, you're not hiding anything, right? And we think that we are, just because we're not actively, openly, you know, going after that person, whoever that is. But it's also recognizing that even our thoughts are just as powerful. And if you're wishing bad on someone, that karma will come back to you. And what I mean by wishing bad on someone, I mean like you're jealous, like I wish I could have what she has or he has. This person pisses me off so bad, I wish they would just disappear. You know, I wish this person would die. Like all those negative things, that will eventually come back to you. So please be careful of your thoughts. Please. I don't know how much I have to stress that enough. And we're human. We're going to have moments where our ego takes over and then we start thinking negative thoughts. We're human. It's expected. We're not perfect, right? But you will have the co-conscious decision to really watch your habits and your behavior, okay? So Neptune right now is still in retrograde, and what Neptune does is that it fills our heads with illusions. And you're like, man, how worse can this get, right? I told you that a lot of planets are in retrograde right now. And like I said, retrograde is when a planet orbits one way and then it goes the reverse direction. That's what retrograde is. And then when it starts to go back the original direction, that's what going direct means, right? But Neptune right now is still in retrograde. And what it does is that it fills our head with illusions. So sometimes that comes in the form of not only thoughts and feelings and emotions, but it also comes in the form of literally illusions in front of our eyes, our dreams. So say, for instance, for example, a lot of people who are in loving, committed relationships right now might have dreams of their significant other having sex or cheating or having infidelity issues within their dreams, right? And then, you know how that goes, where you wake up and you're like pissed the fuck off with whatever dream that you just had. But that doesn't mean that it's true, right? But what Neptune does, it likes to fuck with you as far as your head-wise. So it makes you think that not only that, but it makes you like question yourself, like if I'm good enough, like for this job, am I good enough for this, and then a lot of the times what Neptune likes to play with the most is social media, because social media is the perfect place for illusions and lies. And remember, it's a 2D based dimension. But Neptune likes to come in and fill more illusions. That way it kind of makes you like, it fills you so much with illusions to the point where it kind of forces you to take the actions that you need to do. And not only that, but Pluto is also in retrograde. You're like, damn, it just never ends. I'm only sticking with the planets right now. I'm not talking anything about the star constellations or any of that matter, or the moon, right? Because there's so much that goes into astrology that it would take like days for me to go over it. But Pluto is the planet of wanting control, yet not wanting to be in control. So it's a contradiction. So Pluto, it's wanting to control your life and your situations, wanting control of it, yet not wanting to take the action to take control. And Pluto creates this teeter-tottering effect of figuring out, like, say for instance, a lot of people are going to be like, I don't want to work for someone for the rest of my life. I want to create my own business, my own empire, right? However, They can't find the motivation, yet the ideas on how to do it or how to start it, or they don't know where to start, so therefore they're just like, I'm just not gonna start it. I have the motivation for it, but I'm not gonna do it. So if you feel like you've been having a lot of ideas, a lot of motivation, you know, to do certain things or to bring things in, like as far as to fruition, as far as creativity wise, project wise, or relationship wise, you know, because this applies to everything. But it's, if you've been feeling like you don't want to be controlled, yet you still want to take control of your life, yet you don't want to be told what to do or how to do it, you know, or when to do it, then just know that Pluto is making a big effect on your life right now. And I've been affected with these planets. We all have. Everything down to the last insect has been affected with these planets in retrograde. But what we're supposed to do is transmute this negative energy into positivity. And what I mean by transmuting, I mean by filtering out whatever it is that's no longer needed, and then keeping the things that are, you know, good for us, and throwing out the old that is no longer needed, right? So let's go into a little bit of the childhood trauma. So with childhood trauma, I'm going to have a hard time talking about this because at one point I think everyone has experienced some sort of childhood trauma. And childhood trauma comes in many different forms. It doesn't have to be always about abuse, verbal abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse. It can be narcissism. It can be silent abuse. There's like a lot of different forms of it, right? So with childhood trauma, there comes a lot of karmic lessons that are involved. And a lot of people don't realize, or that we walk through life thinking that, you know, why would anyone want to go through such pain, you know, in order to gain a lesson in life? Well, that's the whole point, right? We're souls that come here to incarnate to gain lessons. And if it comes from trauma, then so be it, because that's life. Pain, you know, we know that turns into learning and turn lessons, and that's what I like to say is karmics are lessons. And as fucked up as it was, and I'm not excusing any abuse or behavior that has happened to you or me, right? Those people will pay for their karma, right? But as far as I am concerned, is that I came here to experience these fucked up situations so that I may gain knowledge, so that I may gain wisdom, in order to share it with you guys, in order to share it and pass it along in hopes that it helps the newer generation, right? And unfortunately, a lot of our generation has been through abuse in any type of form, whether it be rape, molestation, physical abuse, mental abuse, verbal abuse, you know, all the above. Relationship abuse, you know, marital abuse, all that jazz. This all kind of stems all together into one sum. But it all, like I said, everything stems from your childhood. And that's why a lot of us have to focus on inner childhood wounds. And a lot of us don't realize that when we're jumping from relationship or to relationship, or we're living out our life, a lot of the times the childhood trauma that we've experienced that we have not healed or transmuted over the years eventually starts to affect us, right? So, excuse me. So one thing that I've noticed, that a lot of the ancestral trauma that we have within my family is a lot of women deal with codependency. And I'm going to trigger a lot of people, right? If you don't want to hear this in your family or whatever, and this just totally just makes you, like, you don't want to heal, you don't want to hear any of it, right? I suggest that you click off. However, if you do want to heal and you do want to listen to like ways on and to be more aware of like your actions and stuff, please listen to this, right? But codependency is a big issue, especially amongst feminine energies in this world. It's not within my family. A lot of feminines, and what I mean by feminines, I don't mean by gender, I mean male or female, but mainly female, have been dealing with codependency issues for generations, right? And what I mean by codependency issues, I mean that they are codependent on a partner or a man or a woman in order to fulfill their needs in life. And if they don't have that, and they don't have that soul partner, or if they don't have any form of codependency, it doesn't even have to be a relationship. It can be codependency on money. It could be codependency on self-sabotaging. It could be a codependency on addictions, you know, drugs and alcohol. And addictions come in many forms. It's not just that. But codependency, it's like the feeling of I'm not going to get anything better, therefore I don't deserve anything better. I already got myself in this situation, therefore I can't get out, right? So that's what kind of like the detachment issues start coming in, which is someone who, there's two spectrums to detachment. One that lets go, that can't stay committed, and one that hangs on too tightly, okay? And so a lot of the times, with detachment issues, I talk about these different dynamics, you know, amongst my family, and it's something that I learned also within the hospital, because yes, I was checked into a psychiatric hospital because of suicidality and all that jazz, right? But a lot of people don't know that. But detachment issues, though, however, can be so detrimental to us because not only does it affect your self-worth, but it also shows how much that we do not love ourselves, right? And a lot of the notion, that's what I'll get into, what conditional love and unconditional love, right? Conditional love is basically love that has been taught that in order for you to gain love, that you have to earn it, right? And a lot of people like to fight hard for love and everything like that, but a lot of the times love should just be given, right? That's excuse me, again, I feel like freaking my throat chakra is just acting up so badly today, and I know why, but I'm not gonna go into why. But a lot of energies don't want me to get this information out right now because they don't want people to heal. They want people to stay stagnant and stuck and still in pain, and I'm just not going to allow it. So, anywho, conditional love is thinking that you have to earn it. Unconditional love is already given love, right? So conditional love means that I have to try my best in order for this person to love me or to not leave me. Conditional love is doing something for someone but expecting things in return. You know, conditional love is not forgiving. It's not, it's temporary, right? Conditional love does not last whatsoever. But unconditional love is all about giving love, whether you get it back or not. It's the forgiving factor. It's learning to not carry any resentment, no baggage, right? And a lot of, they're trying, they're playing Bag Lady. If you know Bag Lady from Erykah Badu, they're playing that right now in my head. But Bag Lady, you gon' miss your bus. Yeah, so you see that? If you are guided to look up Bag Lady, I suggest to look up Erykah Badu Bag Lady, because this totally goes with everything. It's carrying a bunch of baggage that's no longer needed to relationship to relationship, and not being able to let go of the past. And then you're not realizing how much that affects your relationships now as an adult. So, narcissistic tendencies. Now, narcissist is a tricky area because there's a spectrum of narcissism, right? With narcissism, there are full-blown narcissists, then there's covert narcissism, and then there's just narcissistic tendencies, right? It really depends on the person and where they're at. But there are people who are full-blown narcissists. Now, those are the people that I suggest you stay the fuck away from, right? I would consider them energy vampires. But what I mean by covert narcissists are people who were taught narcissism from actual narcissists, and actually it was passed down to the next generation. So if parents were narcissistic and they were narcissistic toward their kids, it's passed down, therefore they would be considered covert narcissists. Now, they might not be full-blown. The only difference is that covert narcissists are not really aware of what they're doing. Full-blown narcissists are fully aware of how they're hurting and affecting other people. Covert, however, are those who were just taught and they know nothing better. It doesn't excuse the behavior or the actions that they are taking to hurt other people. However, there is a big difference, right? And then a lot of us, we all have narcissistic tendencies. And I'm going to trigger a lot of people by saying that. Because a lot of people are like, what? I'm not a narcissist. No, I'm not a narcissist. It's just a fucking label, okay? And all these labels that I'm using right now is such a 3D thing. It's such a human thing. And I wish that I could be able to telepathically send these, messages to you, but I can't. That's not where we're at right now. But yes, we do all have narcissistic tendencies, and that falls into the line of our ego. And there is two sides to this. We have our ego side and we have our intuition side, right? Intuition represents the female energy, the feminine, and the ego represents the masculine energy, right? And that's why a lot of people in society push blame onto the masculine energy as far as the ego goes. They tend to deal with a lot of egotistic ways. They have to break ego patterns. A lot of masculine energy has to deal with that. Feminine energy has to deal with codependency issues and being, you know, like victim behavior, you know what I mean? But it, again, doesn't matter what your gender is. But narcissistic tendencies, we all have it. It all falls into our ego. We all have ego. That's what makes us human, right? And ego is pretty much your lower side, your dark side, your 3D side, right? Your intuition is your 5D self, your higher self, you know, your actual subconscious. Your 3D self, your ego, is your conscious. So the one when you're awake and you're actively, you know, going throughout life, that you're working, you know, within that. But the minute you go lay down your head at night and go to sleep, that's when your intuition comes into play. Okay, so narcissistic tendencies stem from abuse, mental, verbal, and physical. Each one, I don't like to say which one is worse than the other. All ones are equal. They're all equally as bad. Narcissistic, if you heard of gaslighting, that's another thing that narcissists like to use in order to take control of their victims. And I don't like to use the word victim because I feel like there's no victims in this world. But I'm gonna be triggering a lot of people. Like I said, this is not for you, then this is not for you, right? But narcissists like to target certain victims in order to push control, in order to have control, because they feel like they don't have a control of their own lives. So therefore they feel like they have to control someone else's, okay? It's nothing personal. Sometimes it's made personal, but a lot of the times it's about the other person, not you, okay? So in a narcissistic household, there are terms like the scapegoat, the golden child, and then the ghost child, I like to say. The scapegoat child is the one that is placed blame on for the family's issues, right? The golden child is the one that is put on a pedestal at all times, you know, the one that is being compared to so I'm talking about, like, you know, in a family, like siblings, right? There's a golden child that, you know, a child that is being compared to with the others or put on a high pedestal. And then you have the ghost child, the one that is just not there, that is not home, one that just comes to lay their head down to rest, and then they're gone in the next morning. And those are the children that you just never see home whatsoever, and then they only come home at night to lay their head down to rest, right? And a lot of the times, a lot of this abuse and narcissistic abuse goes unnoticed because, you know, we like to focus more on the physical aspect of abuse, right? But there are so many forms of abuse that actually fucks us up down the line and affects our relationships in adulthood. Self-sabotaging becomes very popular within those who experience some form of abuse, whether it be family, relationship, or not. But self-sabotaging is like my number one thing that I am learning to get over, which is thinking that you are not worthy enough, and thinking that, you know, that when you do receive the things that you deserve in life, that you just don't deserve it. You know what I mean? So self-sabotaging, for example, is like going for a job that you really like, right? But then the job calls you back saying that you got the job, but then you're like, oh, I didn't expect them to call me back, you know? It was just a whim. And now I'm scared. I'm starting to get chicken feet. Oh, what if I'm not good enough? What if I fail? What if I, you know, what if? Sorry. There's a lot of cars that like to speed through my neighborhood and trucks. But anywho, but self-sabotaging is pretty much a classic way, an indicator to know that you were, you know, subjugated to some form of abuse in your life, and therefore, in order for you to protect yourself, in order for you to not feel hurt again, you self-sabotage it, purposely or unpurposely, in order to run away from your problems, right? And that's the thing with a lot of people. There's those that, you know, fight the abuse, and then there's runners. And runners are the ones that don't want to heal. They're not ready to heal. They're the ones that don't want to hear any form of therapy or any form of healing that will better their life. They're just stuck, okay? And they think that they're stuck. And there's no such thing as being stuck in life, because there's always a way out. There's always a way out, and there's always an alternative, right? But that's the thing, is that we fall for those illusions. We fall for what's physically in front of us, instead of like actually having faith that, you know, you can actually leave these situations and get away from these situations. And this video might be long, by the way, because I don't control how long it takes to record this video, because Spirit, they don't care. Time is an illusion. So I'm going to try to make it very clear. I'm trying to go in much depth as I can, you know, in order to help someone. And I hope it helps someone. But what I mean by victim, rescuer, and persecutor role, this is something that I learned in the hospital. So victim behavior is pretty much someone, imagine a triangle, right? There's a triangle. On one side, there's a victim. On the other side, there is a rescuer. And the other side is a persecutor, right? What the victim role has in this dynamic is someone that is constantly used as, like, you know, food or a source for, you know, abusers or whatever. Victims are pretty much those who experience a certain type of trauma that has actually taken their willpower away, that has taken their sense of living. That's what we call victimization. Rescuer on this side is pretty much someone that likes to interject and be the people pleaser, someone that likes to save other people yet doesn't know how to save themselves. Oof, right? And so the persecutor role right here represents the person that could be an aggressor, someone that can be the abuser, someone that actually strives off of energy by abusing other people. So they all have a certain type of role within this triangle dynamic of relationships, and each one has their own purpose, right? And a lot of the things that we learned in the hospital, when I was in the hospital, is that a lot of the times being on that triangle is the one that creates havoc. It creates miscommunication. It creates drama within the household, within your relationships and your family. So persecutors are like, they are pretty much what you would know as the bully, right? But they bully and hurt other people because they're hurt. So hurt people hurt other people, and that is so true, okay? It doesn't excuse what they're doing. However, there is a reason before it, right? And that means that possibly that child did not have attention at home. Therefore, they're seeking attention through making a reaction out of others, whether it's negative or bad. It's that notion of, I don't get attention anyway, so whether I get it good or bad, I'm still going to have it. And that kind of, you can tell who those people are, because especially when you go on social media, the ones that are more like attention seeking, those are the ones, or those that like really like hurt other people or try to create a reaction out of someone else. A lot of the times that person was persecuted so much at home, growing up throughout their childhood, that's the only thing that they know in order to gain attention and love. Conditional love. So each one, it's just not good to be on that triangle in general. And in order to come off that triangle, in order to stay off that dynamic of trauma, what we learned is that it's good to remove yourself, one, physically, emotionally, right, spiritually. And I would go a little bit more in depth on what cord cutting is, because yes, cord cutting, a lot of people don't even know what that is, but we have a lot of cords that are attached to people in our past. It doesn't matter, 20 plus years, 10 plus years of people where energy is attached to us and are straining us, you know, that we're not aware of, right? So any exes, you know, I had to do cord cutting with a lot of exes and a lot of like ex-friends and people that were just not, you know, good for me or just not on my journey right now in life. I had to learn to cut that off completely. But with the dynamic to get off it is to assert yourself. It's called self-love, right? In order to get you off that triangle, you need to practice self-love. And I cannot stress this so much. I literally write this down all the time on my feed and how important it is, but you attract what you are. And if you are vibing from a frequency of unconditional love and light, and you are vibing from a frequency of just loving yourself and putting the time and effort into yourself, just know that it attracts people or individuals or things to you that are vibrating on the same frequency, which is what? Love. If you are vibrating on a lower frequency of depression, hate, anxiety, resentment, grudges, you know, things that you're just refusing to let go of, you know what I mean? And you could be the nicest person ever, yet you're still holding on to these old paradigms from back then. that is already in the past and it's already done and over with, yet you're still holding on to that. Now that creates karma. It creates a karmic cycle, and it creates just so much havoc, you know. And it creates masks, it creates illusions. And when I mean by mask, I mean that masks, like as far as people, we all have our own mask that we show to the public. We all have our own, like, what we call, in a human term, we would call it alter ego, right? Something, a persona that you create in order for you to mask the real you once you are out here in this world. And we all have it, right? Like I said, ego is part of the mask part. But learning to drop the ego, learning to drop the mask and all those illusions and, you know, the blindfold, a lot of the times, you'll start to realize that, wow, yes, I was abused. Yes, I had a lot of toxic relationships in my life. Yes, I created a lot of toxicity within my life too. And after a while, you gotta come to realize that it's not, yes, that person is responsible for hurting you. But if you're carrying that like years down the road and you're refusing to let that go, at this point, you're only hurting yourself. You're only hurting yourself. You're not hurting the other person. You're only hurting yourself. And that is why I stress that self-love is the first step towards healing. It's realizing that, yes, you are lovable. You are worth it. You are worthy of anything that you want in life. You deserve happiness. You deserve to live in happiness. You deserve to have everything that makes you happy in life. Okay? And no other person, no other thing, person, place, or thing can take that from you. What's rightfully yours. Right? And that goes into the notion of infidelity and commitment issues. A lot of people who have infidelity and commitment issues stem from childhood trauma. It was they either seen their parents not together or split or deal with any type of infidelity issues, therefore they pass that down, or they notice that it really depends. Like if your parents weren't together as a child and they split up at a young age, that's going to affect your commitment issue down the line when you're an adult. It's gonna be hard for you to find a person that you can actually trust, settle down with, and feel committed to, you know. And a lot of the times, when we are hurt over and over again from someone, we get scared and we feel like the next person that's gonna come around is going to hurt us the same way that other person did, and that is not true. What we would call projecting, as in projecting our insecurities onto that person wrongfully. And I am guilty of doing this. We all are. Especially if you hear of someone, like I said, Bag Lady from Erykah Badu, bringing in the baggage of the last relationship. So, for example, I have seen a lot of female friends from the past who were left, who their man left them for another person. Right, and I could see that would take a big blow to the ego, right, and that is very hurtful, and I've had that happen to me, where I've had partners who left me in the past for other people, but it's not fun when it happens. However, it comes to a point where you start to realize that, like I said, nothing can really be taken from you if it's rightfully yours, okay? That person is not for you to own. You are not here to own other people. And that's the thing that we get messed up with our relationship dynamics. Your husband, your spouse, your fiance, your wife, your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, friend, foe, whatever. You do not own that person. And they do not own you. Okay? That's what we would call codependency. And the thing is that yes, if that person did leave you for another person, they will get their karma because of the way that they went about and did that, because there was dishonesty, there was trickery, deceiving, and all that jazz. They will pay for that. However, that's not your place. And that's one of the things that I always told people and friends and family, because I'm going to trigger people. I'm not going to mention names, but a lot of the times, I would tell people that people will get their karma, don't worry about it. And a lot of times I would have friends that would say, oh, karma is not going to get them. Last time, karma didn't get them the last time. It's like, well, why are you so worried about if karma is going to affect that person or not? Obviously, it's because you haven't moved on, right? You haven't let go. If you really did not care, you wouldn't have been so stuck on the fact that if this person is going to get their karma or not. Karma is real. And karma handles itself in many different ways. Just because it's not happening the way that you want it to, doesn't mean that it's not happening. And that's the thing, is that people get into this illusion that if I'm not seeing them go through the same shit that they put me through, that means that they're not experiencing karma. You don't know that. You're not walking in their shoes in their life. You're not waking up in their body each and every day. And I'm not excusing their behavior. Yes, they do. People do deserve their karma. However, it's not up to us or the person who went through that trauma to wish ill on that person. As a light being, as a light worker, as someone that operates from unconditional love, what you're supposed to do is not supposed to. I don't like to say what you're supposed to do. Sorry. What I'm saying is that what I advise you to do is to really focus on forgiveness, right? And forgiveness is a huge step. And it's going to be cliche, I know, but I'm going to say this for real. Forgiveness, it's really for you, not the other person. It really is. And the thing is that, like I said, everything starts from you. It starts from within. Anything outside of you is a reflection of that. And a lot of the times when we've been through trauma or any type of abuse, we start to seek outside of ourselves towards people, places, and things to fill us with love, with validation, to fill us with that missing piece that we feel like we're missing in the puzzle, right? So, yes, with that becomes, sometimes people can become manipulative. They deal with envy and jealousy issues, right? We've all been there. Feeling jealous over someone else, comparing yourself to someone else, but walking through life realizing that there is no such thing as a competition. There really isn't. And we're not competing whatsoever in this lifetime. Like I said, it's a marathon, not a race. And a lot of the times they like to teach us that there is not enough to go around, and that creates a lack mentality. And what lack mentality does, it makes you stuck. It gives you that victimhood like mentality of thinking that there is not enough. As in, I'm never going to be able to have enough money to enjoy and have fun with the things that I want to have fun with, right? There's no one out there that's going to love me. That type of thing. It's like there are plenty of people out there who are here waiting to love you. Waiting. But you are blocking yourself from your own happiness because of self-sabotage, because of you already doing self-fulfilling prophecies of thinking that this is just going to end the way that it did last time. And people don't realize that you're just manifesting the same outcome over and over and over again. It attracts energy vampires. So if you're someone who just feels like, man, how come all my relationships that I attract, they're negative people and they cheat on me or they do the exact same thing? Well, honey, it's probably because you did not heal, and you did not heal from the last relationship before getting into this one. Okay? It's probably because you haven't healed your childhood wounds. Therefore, you're taking those wounds into your next relationship. And it just creates this havoc, right? So as far as ancestral karma goes, I've been dealing with having to break the notion of codependency, detachment issues, victimhood, rescuing role, feeling like I have to please others so that they like me, Everyone goes through it, right? Scapegoatism, everything. Like, everyone goes through this. Commitment issues. Not wanting to settle down. Not wanting to be held down. A lot of masculine energies deal with that too, not just feminine. But what happens is that we're not able to really heal. We like to mask it with things such as drugs, alcohol, sex, any negative behavior that numbs us so that we don't feel and that we don't heal. Because I always say, in order to heal, you got to feel it. That means you got to cry and you got to let it out. And you need to be honest with yourself. You know, not lying to yourself, but keeping the blindfold on because you're scared. And all of this stems from fear-based mentality, fear-based decisions. And it just, either it creates a person that is just so detached in the world that they feel like no one loves them, and so therefore they jump around from relationship to relationship. Or it could stem from someone who is just stuck for years in a relationship that does not serve them whatsoever, but they stay anyway because they're scared and they fear what it would be like if they were alone, or things were to change, right? And humans, we fear change so much, especially if we've been through trauma, because we grew up in a not so stable household. If someone was moving all the time or didn't have a stable foundation to begin with, what makes you think they're going to have a stable foundation in adulthood, right? It has to be relearned, reprogrammed. So, like I said, no one can steal anything from you unless you allow it to. Your dignity and your self-worth should not be placed on anything outside of you, a person, place, or thing. Okay? And it doesn't feel good when it happens, right? It doesn't feel good. It feels like the end of the world. You feel like you are losing everything. You feel like everything you worked hard towards, all the years, it doesn't matter, years, months, whatever, time that you put into something, and it just doesn't go through. It doesn't happen. It doesn't work out. It feels shitty. It feels like the end of the world. It feels like, damn, I gotta start all over again. But instead of thinking that way, maybe it's a blessing in disguise, right? And I always like to say, creator's rejection is creator's protection. So anything that didn't work out in your life, anything that, whether it's a job, person, place, or thing, did not work out in your life, maybe it was there for a reason, for you to learn that maybe this is not the thing that is good for you. Instead, are you approaching this in a fear-based mentality, a lack mentality, or are you wanting this person, place, or thing out of like just true unconditional love and good intentions, right? Because it's all about your intentions. The universe doesn't care what you say or how you act. It's about your intentions behind everything. So, what to expect right now, the new moon on September 28th is going to be in Libra. That is going to be another energy shift, and I will be doing a tarot read for that. And then full moon in October 13th is in Aries. Now, mind you, I'm an Aries sun and a Libra moon, so this is going to affect me like a lot. And this full moon in Pisces affected me a ton. I've been recovering as far as like energy-wise. I feel it's been zapped. There are a lot of energies out there who are preventing a lot of information and certain things to not come out. I'm seeing a lot of people are like, their stuff is getting deleted, their technology is being fucked with, that type of thing. But that's why I say and stress out that please protect your energy during this time. And what I mean by protect your energy, like if you got sage yourself, right? If you got candles, light a candle. That actually, people don't realize that when you light candles in your household, it's a protection barrier. Or take spiritual baths, which is adding salt, bath salts. I have moon water, sun water, and stuff like that, and all that jazz. But protect your energy, okay? Because when we go through these massive energy shifts, it affects us so much to the point where I'm starting to notice within my family, people started like saying, oh, I can't sleep, I'm having insomnia. And then I started hearing, here's the body aches coming in, I've had all those. I've been dealing with body aches, feeling groggy, tired, insomnia, not sleeping late at night, having too much energy, not knowing what to do with it, right? But what I mean by transmuting, go outside, go in nature, take advantage of Washington state that we have. We have many nature that's around us, but we have so many homebodies. And the thing is, I love homebodies. I'm an introvert. I don't really like people. I'm just going to be honest. I don't really like people. However, I do love humanity. okay? I just don't like to be around so much people, but I am a homebody. I'm an introvert. I like to stay within my space. That's how I gain my energy. A lot of empaths and a lot of people who are intuitive and gifted do deal with introvertism. But yeah, so, but I'm just saying that protect your energy, okay? And whether that's going on a jog, whether that's cooking your favorite meal, whether that's doing something that's making you happy, like creating art, do it. Try it out, okay? But a lot of people are realizing that their motivation is just zapped throughout this month. And I said this in my tarot reading. To those who didn't watch my tarot reading, Virgo, the hermit card popped up. What that means is going within yourself and going into hermit mode. So a lot of people right now are finding that their motivation, their energy is zapped. They feel like, I have so much ideas, but I just don't know how to execute them. That's normal, okay? Procrastination right now is very normal at this time in the year. It actually, Spirit is making us unmotivated and actually make us procrastinate so that we may go inside within ourselves and heal whatever it is that needs to be healed. And this is what I'm talking about: childhood trauma, childhood wounds, inner childhood wounds that need to be addressed. I am still healing, and I am still healing from childhood wounds. You are never done healing. Each and every day, doesn't matter if you're 70, 80, 100. You are never done healing or learning. As long as you are down in the ground and you are somewhere else, like incarnated somewhere else, then that's when you learn your lessons and take with you. But for now, we're all still learning, okay? And not everyone has the answers, right? But what I'm doing is that I'm sharing my personal experiences so that it may help someone else out there, to let you know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. If you told me a year ago that I would be on here talking about childhood traumas, or if you told me that I would be happy, or even any hint of happiness, from a year ago, I would have said that you were bullshitting, and I would have not believed you. Because I was in such a dark, dark place mentally, physically, everything in between. I was surrounding myself with toxicity as far as relationships goes, and also with toxic behaviors. I also had codependencies. I had addictions, right? I had many addictions. I'm still dealing with addictions as well. But like I said, addictions come in many different forms. It's not just drugs and alcohol. So what we're going to do to help get through this is to realize that, yes, it starts with you. It starts with self-love. The more love you put into yourself, the more that you will receive back, okay? What you put out there is what you get back, good or bad. So if you're learning to love yourself and put in that energy into you, you're going to attract someone, a person, place, or thing, whether it be a job or a relationship towards you, that is for your highest good, okay? But do not give up, all right? There are times where you feel like you're going to, you feel like you're going to throw the towel in, but just notice the signs, right? And know that you're not alone. There are people out there who have gone through the exact same experiences as you have, and there are people who are going through it currently, and there are people who will go through it in the future. Okay? But if it does happen to you, and it did happen to you, and this is something that has hurt you to your core and has affected you in your life, I want you to be able to take a step back right now, evaluate what it is that really affected you in your life, what really hurt you, whether that be a person, place, or thing, whether it be a parent, a family member, a relationship. Really start to feel it. Allow yourself to feel it, and then let it go. It's okay to feel and cry and to stay in that space of depression, to reflect. But what's not okay is staying in there. It's to stay there. You have to let it go. Okay? And a lot of people, I get it. There's people who just don't like to cry, especially my fellow masculine energies. They were taught and programmed not to show emotions or cry or to show any type of vulnerability. But that's what we were programmed to do, and that is so wrong. Spirit wants us to be able to be vulnerable, to be able to embrace our childhood, to be able to embrace the love that we deserve, right? The love that they're trying to bring into our lives. But it starts with you learning to love yourself so that you're able to receive it, right? And not self-sabotage whatever it is that is meant to come in for you. And all this right now, I'm taking advice for myself as well, because this applies to me as well in my life. But unconditional love, is so important. And I just watched an anime, Fruits Basket. I love Fruits Basket. Anybody who knows me, Fruits Basket is my favorite anime out of all anime. It is like legit right here. Look at this. Fruits Basket. I literally have it right. This is the old version, but the new version just came out not too long ago. It's the 2019 version, and they're doing a whole remake on the show. And I catch myself crying every episode, right? Because it pertains, anybody can relate to it. But one thing for sure that I noticed, especially with my divine masculines and divine feminines, if you don't know what that is, then oh well, I'm not really going to go into depth on Facebook when it comes to this. But a lot of the times, our masculine or feminines that have dealt with trauma in their childhood also deal with the notion that when they are shown unconditional love, that how my character Kyo, my boy Kyo right here, how he explained it was, it's a lukewarm feeling that makes me feel grossed out. These two people they have all dealt with trauma, right? All of them. However, these two what happens is, this girl, Toru, right? Let me rewind. She comes into the life of a family who has dealt with so much trauma and karmic cycles in their life, ancestral trauma in their life, so much to the point where it affects them in their adulthood and they just don't know how to love properly, right? She, however, is vibrating on a sense of unconditional love and light. She comes into their life, especially to people who have never experienced that before, or, being treated in such a manner that you're meant to be treated. They interpret it as, this person is crazy, right? This person right here is crazy, right? Like, how can this person love me unconditionally? And so what happens is that they end up, out of fear, they push her away. And that's what happens with humans. When we find someone that is just too good to be true, someone that shows us how we're meant to be treated, someone, especially if you've been treated so wrong your whole life, and you find that person that treats you with dignity and grace, sometimes we self-sabotage it and think, oh my God, this is too good to be true. Oh my God, is this really going to last? Oh my God, is this person just acting and putting on the front? All that stuff. All those thoughts start coming in. Try your best to just not allow those thoughts to take over, okay? How he explained it is, like he said, I don't know what this feeling is. It's like a lukewarm, gross feeling. It makes me feel suffocated. I feel suffocated. I can't breathe. That's what Kyo was saying. I can't breathe. I can't function. I don't like it. It's weird. It weirds me out. But Toru, however, is like, I don't care if you're scared. I don't care if you reject me. I don't care if you don't agree with me. I love you anyways. I unconditionally love you. Whether you hurt me down to my core or not, I still forgive you and I still love you, and you still deserve love. Whether if it's with me or not. And if you say that to someone who's never experienced that type of love, it feels weird. It feels like this weird foreign concept that just is like a new language. It's like learning a new language all over again. The language of love. Okay? And that's something that I strive for, is to really vibrate in a loving and unconditional vibration, so much to the point where now certain things don't faze me anymore. Yes, I can still get hurt. I'm human. I still cry. Yes, I still feel pain. However, certain things that happen into my life, whether if someone leaves me or not, it doesn't faze me. I'm at that point where, like, people who are meant to be in my life are meant to be in my life at that current moment, and people who are not are not. And if they are meant to be in my life, they will come back in a higher vibration. But I make it very clear that I surround myself around loving individuals, around forgiving individuals, around beings and those that know their worth and their love for themselves. Whether it be masculine or feminine, we all deserve that unconditional love. Unfortunately, we grew up not having that. But it has to be reprogrammed and relearned, okay? So it's so important to focus on your inner core healing, your wounds, the childhood wounds that you have carried for most of your life. Okay? And try not to be afraid of triggers, and try not to avoid triggers. The society always tries to avoid triggers. But sometimes we need triggers. Sometimes we do need triggers in order to help us know what's that inner core wound that we refuse to look at that's popping up again. Okay? And a lot of people are going to get mad and angry, but shit, I've been through life. I know you've been through life. You know, I know this probably upsets people talking about triggers, and they're going to want to avoid it and run to the hills, right? Because they don't want to experience any of the pain. But sadly, the more you run, the more you'll realize that you're not happy wherever you go. Doesn't matter where you go. You can go from this point all the way across the world. You still won't be happy. And those are the people that jump from home to home, or people who feel like they can't have a stable foundation for themselves, and they feel like they have to wander all the time because they are trying to seek themselves. And then they do that in a form of seeking outside of themselves. You know, whether it be a person, place, or thing. It starts from with you. And once you start doing the healing from within, it doesn't matter where you go in the world. You will be happy. You will feel at home no matter where you go. Because you are home. You are home. So, forgiveness. Letting go. Focusing on self-love, and the rest will just fall into place. Okay? This is what we would call creating a firm stability for yourself, a firm foundation for yourself. It's crumbling down the old and bringing in the new. It's letting go of anything that may be holding you back in life, person, place, or thing. If that person isn't helping you grow, or that person, place, and thing is not helping you grow as an individual on a soul level, let it go. Let it go. What purpose are they doing other than distracting you? It's a distraction. There are so much distractions that are thrown to you. And the thing is that a lot of the times the distractions come in such a way where you don't even think about it. Right? And what I mean by distractions, I mean distracting you from your purpose in life. What is it that you're here to accomplish in life? You're not here to just slave away, work your life away at 9 to 5 and then just die. You're not here just to accumulate wealth, property, whatever, and just die. You're not here to just fuck around. Some people are. Shit. Some people's purpose is to just fuck around and to create havoc. But hey, how else would we learn? We need them. As fucked up as it is. We need them to learn. And a lot of people are wondering, well, why the fuck would I come to Earth just to be hurt or be treated a certain way? You came here because you had lessons to learn. And you came here because you're going to learn to transmute those harsh, painful times into something positive so that it may help the next generation. Okay? Okay. So, I think I'm going to stop it right there. I was going to do a live tarot reading, but I decided let's just make this just me talking to you guys, okay? I already did a tarot reading the other day. I feel like I already know what right now is going on with the energy-wise. A lot of people are dealing with karma. Today's the last day of karma. Saturn goes direct today. Yay. That means from this point forward, we won't be like shit-fucked by karmic energy. As intensely, you know. Karma's still going to be around. You're still going to have to pay your dues, good or bad. However, it's not going to be as extreme as how it had. Goodness gracious, throat chakra. How it has been this whole time. And the reason why I can't get my words out, because there's an energy or someone out there who feels like they can't get their words out and they can't speak their truth. There's someone out there who is hiding something. There's some secrets or whatever that is refusing to come to the surface right now. I'm just pointing this out. This is a side note. Someone is refusing to speak their truth right now. And so what happens is it comes out in the form of your throat chakra being fucked up. So I feel like there is some truth that is being hidden right now that's going to come to the surface very soon. But that's just for me. It could be for whoever that is out there who's needing to hear this. But anywho, I'm wishing you guys nothing but love and light. Wishing you guys nothing but a beautiful day, night, wherever you guys may be watching this. Please hold on. Please focus on those childhood traumas and those inner core wounds that you need to focus on in order to heal, in order for you to move on to the next stage in life. Okay? I'm going to provide a timestamp at the bottom below in the comments so that you can... Actually, I don't even need a timestamp. In fact, never mind. Just totally erase what I just said. There's going to be no timestamp, okay? This is just an overall message. And whoever watches it, good. okay? The only thing I care about is if I'm able to reach one person out there. I don't care if I reach 2, 3, 4, 5, right? One person out there is enough for me to make a difference. That's all I care about. Anywho, thank you to my spirit guides, my angels, my ancestors, and to the divine and creator for allowing me and using me as a vessel in order to get these messages out to the collective, so that it may help someone on their journey, so that it may help me on my journey. And I'm wishing nothing but the best for anyone who comes across and watches this. I'm sending you nothing but healing and love energy, because you deserve it. Feel it to heal it. If you gotta cry, let it go. Speak your truth. If you have something that you need to say, speak it now or forever hold your peace. No, I'm just saying, don't hold your peace. Legit, if you have something that you need to say and get it out, you know. But in a loving way. Don't do it just to destroy other people. Anywho, love you guys. I shall see you guys in my next video. I'm gonna go eat and chill out. Peace. Bye.